See if it does it on the first row. And we are back. I'm Spider of Crescendo Games, and we have with us the legendary John McGowan, who is gracious. McGowan, right? Please tell me I didn't. Oh, awesome. There's a high school teacher that I had who had the exact same spelling, but he went with McCowan.
Oh, interesting.
And yes, the G was in there.
All right. I never heard it pronounced that way. So
Right.
My family's all from New York, and I guess they all do it with the G.
Hey, Daniel. He is dropped in. So, anyway, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about. We're here to talk about one-to-one time, which for me started with this book, which he wrote. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about how this thing came into being and just your general, like, this is why it came up, this is why I did it, sort of a deal.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess it starts with I was a Pathfinder first edition GM.
Okay.
And and I ran very traditional, traditional in the sense of like the modern tradition of kind of tailored theme park campains.
Sure. Yeah. I was very good at
it. Yeah, same. And in fact, I have some of my original players still kind of complain I don't run that way anymore. They don't like having as much like everything being open, but the ones who get it really get it. It's just people are going to have their preferences in different ways. But so I got burnt out on that because that system is very ponderous.
Oh yeah.
And I ran that for like 10 years, and I got real tired of it, and I was looking for something else. And I started kind of thinking like, okay, like I want to see what other systems are doing, what other people are doing. And I started getting into like more like OSR stuff. And I figured after being with something that was so ponderous and so mechanically dense, I thought maybe playing something that was more streamlined and basic sounds insulting, but I mean, basic rules type stuff. Sure. And I thought maybe there's a way we could sort of strip this down and still get kind of the same experience. So, I tried a few different things, and it didn't quite work out all that well. And then I started seeing, so it was originally with that, they like the YouTube, like Dungeon Tube started doing like they started talking about one-to-one time.
Okay. All right. I'm, as a quick interjection, I'm coming from a really interesting point of view as far as RPG stuff goes, because around 2019, I dropped out of the conversation entirely.
Okay.
So I wasn't tracking anything, like very purposefully not tracking anything from 2019 till about 2025. I just dropped out. So everything you're saying to me is news, simply because I didn't want to look at the time because of some of the stuff I was doing, which we'll get into later. I didn't want outside opinions. I just wanted to focus on what I was doing. And then two, when I started Crescendo, I found that nobody understood what I was doing at all. So it was like, nope, I'm out. Like, I'm just out. I'm gone. So anyway, just as you're going, if I kind of look at you like, what the heck are you talking about? You'd be like, no, I was deliberately under a rock for years.
All right. Well, you're educated. So there was this moment where people were starting to talk about one-to-one time, but they never really talked about it. They always talked about it as kind of like this curiosity, and then you scratch the surface a little deeper, and then you find out like the bros were talking about it at the time.
Sure.
And they were being a little more. The Brosar was being a lot more specific in how to do it, and that would be like Jeffro and B-Dubs and like all those guys. And they pointed to the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, and I was already sort of looking into OSR stuff, and I thought, like, why not? So I
Sure.
found out I had POD copies of all 3 of the first edition
Very
books.
nice ones.
Yeah, like it's not so bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the binding isn't great. Like the glue they use for the cheapest one is not so great. Like, but
Sure.
it's not. It's perfectly legible and it works just fine.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started kind of reading a little bit about like the system entirely, and then I started making connections between Pathfinder, which was what I was running, and first edition, and I started seeing all these like little things that Pathfinder, being a 3.5 derivative, was like they were like referencing, but I'm not sure they even know like these mechanics were referencing like older mechanics.
Sure.
And there's a lot of like Pathfinder things that like that mechanics that suddenly start to work when you introduce like a real calendar into it.
Sure.
I can't think of anything like off the rip because I've been just away from that system for the last 3 or 4 years. But
sure.
I've forgotten. it's crazy how fast you can forget what you were doing. But
right. Motor memory trumps long-term memory every time.
Right. So yeah, but now and then I kind of was like, I'm doing all this work to make Pathfinder behave similarly to first edition, so I decided I'm just going to play first edition is what I did. And I lost some players over that switch, but I just wasn't having fun, and it was either burn out or play this game that I wanted to play, and whoever sticks around. I'm still friends with everybody. It wasn't like it was like a blowout, but yeah. So anyway, so that's the story about kind of how my trajectory, kind of how I ended up running my games the way I do.
Yeah, that mirrors in some really, really weird ways kind of what I had run into. I came from so when 3.5 dropped, I didn't go Pathfinder. I went to 4E. I had a party that had so badly abused 3.5 that I could no longer look at the system without getting disgusted. Because it was just like, nope. There's all these holes. People find holes. I'm good. I'm so good. Please no. So I went off into 4th edition territory, and then I burned out on it, mostly because mostly because of that whole theme park thing that you were talking about. It was like, you can pour your heart and soul into making all of these set pieces and whatever. Okay, really quick, Daniel, if it's core and one other supplement, sure. That's it. That's seriously it. E6 also probably.
I never got the opportunity to play E6. I always wanted to desperately, but I never.
Yeah, it never came up for me either. I mean, I didn't learn about it until years later, and I was like neck deep in 4E. And the thing that got sad for me was that a lot of what I was doing at the time, the stuff that was really satisfying to me was not satisfying to my players. And at some point, one of my friends was like, just go play Burning Wheel. Please stop being so miserable and go run Burning Wheel and just stop.
Yeah.
Stop complaining. Burning Wheel does what you want to do. So I, after being cantankerous about it for about 6 months, I sat down and played that. And that's actually kind of an interest. So Burning Wheel, if you've ever played it.
I have not.
Okay. Very extremely player driven. Like it's the definition of a player driven game.
Okay.
Players make beliefs, they get rewarded for acting upon them. This should sound familiar with Crescendo. It's where I got the framework from, etc., etc. But one of the first or the second influence that Burning Wheel lists in its appendix is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition, which looks weird. Looked weird to me at the time until I started reading 1E. 14 years later, went, oh, I see where this is going. And so Burning Wheel has a lot of time built into its engine. Like, it's a very time intensive game.
Yeah.
There are times marked out for the kinds of skills you're trying to do. If you're training, it marks out this is how long the training. Like, it's very, very, very time conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Recovery is essentially a huge time tax. Now, I didn't do one-to-one time with the game, but that would mean that, like, in the middle of these campaigns you're running, there's a break of a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, look, you took an axe right to the head and you didn't die. That's a year and a half.
Okay. So you're effectively out of the game for, about.
Right. And so, well, what it meant was that was a year and a half that you gave the GM to do whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how it normally worked with Burning Wheel.
Yeah.
And so, but then eventually I kind of started Burnout and Burning Wheel for reasons that have nothing to do with the stream or even the quality of the game. Right about that point, I kind of like I said, I just dropped out of internet discourse entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that had to do with the fact that the Burning Wheel community can be toxic as all hell, and I wanted nothing to do with it. There were some really, really nasty people in that community in 2019 and 2020, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm just nope.
Why would you?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then around 2021, I started developing Crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really dropped. Like, I really got out. I was like, nope, all the ideas I've got, there's no analog for them. I try and explain them to people, and nobody even knows what I'm talking about. Okay, that's it. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
So this is where this book comes in. Because when did you publish this thing?
It would have been, I think, either December of 23 or January of 24.
Okay, so so I started like late 2021, right? Mm-hmm. Late 2021 is when I'm doing Crescendo. I do a lot of I guess you could call it Amazon surfing. I don't know how else to put it. You go on, you just start following the rabbit hole. And this book kept coming up.
Oh, interesting.
Over and over and over. Like, I'd look at it, be like, this is a really interesting idea. And because of the background I've laid down, you know why it's an interesting idea? Because Burning Wheel forces you to focus on time so much.
Right.
But like, wow, it's for D&D. I haven't played D&D since 2012.
Okay.
So I'm looking at it like 2023. I'm like, this is like,
right.
This is like 11 years late. Like, I don't know it. What am I gonna do with this?
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because then finally I got to the point to where, I finally had enough done on Crescendo to where I felt comfortable coming back into online discourse, because I finally felt like I'd solidified enough of the design to where I could come in and have people yell at me if they needed to yell at me, and I could be, I could just be like, okay, yeah, sure.
Like it had an identity,
right?
And so it was kind of able to like withstand new information coming in.
Right. And so I come on to Twitter. And I find the bros, and I find everybody arguing about it, and I find you talking about your book, and I go, that John McGowan sounds familiar. Why does that? And I go back onto Amazon, and I go, oh, son of a bitch. Really? Seriously? So I bought the book, and it was really, 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 like, it's been really surreal. So it's been like this weird, like, multi-year, like, orbiting of this idea.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's
small world.
Funny.
Yeah. Small world. Yeah. No, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I got Jeff Rowe's original book, The How to Win at D&D, and I got this at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind that my wife is very space conscious. So I get the 2 books, and she goes, 2? I'm like, yes, 2. They're very thin. She goes, that's nice. Hold up. We're going to get to this. Put a pin in this, Daniel. We're coming back to it. So we get to the point to where I can finally start looking through this, and I'm reading Jeff Rowe's book and I'm reading yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is much better. I don't care what anybody else says. I just don't care. Yours I read and I went, oh, I know what to do.
Good. I'm glad it clicked for you.
Which isn't like me trying to throw shade on anyone particular. I'm not trying to shit on Jeff Rowe, because
sure, of course,
that's not actually the intent. But it was like, oh, of the 2 books, one of them is being returned and one of them is not. Okay, the Living Campaign is staying.
Mm-hmm.
How to Win at D&D goes back.
Mm-hmm.
So part of why I wanted to talk to you is because I've been following a bit of the one. I mean, everyone in the chat and here has been following the actual one-to-one discourse,
mm-hmm.
and it's been really frustrating to read it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. I stopped like a year ago because of that. I just can't.
Yeah,
I can only say the same thing so many times. That's all.
Right. It's actually extremely frustrating. Daniel is one of the few people that I actually don't mind talking to about it.
Mm-hmm.
In general. There's a couple of other people where it's like, you can disagree with it, but they're very few and far between. A lot of the time, people will just say things. You're like, are you kidding? That's not what I found at all. Like I'm running this. Like, I'm doing it.
I find that people are very quick to simulate what might happen but they won't try it. And I understand if time's limited and you don't want to try it.
Sure, no, absolutely.
Weighing in with the unsatisfying simulation in your head is not something that I think is particularly helpful.
It sounds like we're both thinking about the same thing, which mm-hmm. is it's the same ridiculous.
So what, you tracking bathroom breaks? It's like, come on.
Right. That's dumb. Yeah. Seriously, are we going to do this?
Yeah.
No, that's the one that the thing that I found, and this is kind of part of why I wanted to have the stream, was because I wanted to talk to someone who had also, because it sounds like you just went off and started doing it and you just started tinkering with it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you weren't part of the Bro SR. You weren't part of anything else. You just went and did your thing.
They definitely banged the drum, and it's what got my eyes on it.
Sure.
And at the time, I'm not really a blog guy, so
sure.
I find it very difficult to keep my attention on blog posts, which is ironic because I write blog posts myself. So, but that's really more for I don't even read my own stuff after it's been put out. But
yeah, me too. Just write it and shoot it off into the void, and good.
So I found so there mostly what I was focused. So there were 2 things as far as where I got the specifics on how I run it, which was obviously the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide.
Sure.
And then, but I attached that timekeeping to the overall framework of Tony Bath's Ancient Wargaming.
Yeah.
Which, is I think the other piece of the puzzle for me. So I think I would describe my campaign as being more Bathian than Gygaxian.
Sure.
And the reason I would say that is that map is not beautiful. It's not just for decoration. I'm tracking player movements with pins and string and war fronts and things like that. And
sure. Which is awesome.
Thank you. And I have a file. I have a file cabinet that's off screen here, directly to my left. That I have like all my file folders with NPCs and dungeons and details
Sure,
and
sure.
things like
Well,
that.
that's awesome.
So it's a very
I should do
strict
that.
filing system,
I
and
should do these things.
Rick Stump was a big inspiration for me there, because he was like,
Okay.
he's doing a lot of really cool things with his campaign. It's been like 47 years old, I think, this year.
Dear Lord.
And although he is not a one-to-one time guy, he does his own kind of how he manages it. I'm not sure,
Sure.
but yeah, it's so that's kind of what I would say is like, as far as I keep very strict files, like not just with time, but with everything else too. And and that was directly off of like Tony Bath's Ancient Wargaming, where he's got a big picture of his map wall, and he's talking about a Matchbox filing system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I read the book.
that.
I need to read it again.
Mm-hmm.
That one honestly cooked my brain.
It's like pretty dry.
Yep. Well, a lot of the concepts, because I wasn't a war gamer originally. That's not something that I have any real like exposure to at all.
No,
so
me
I'm
neither.
like reading. Oh, okay. So you know exactly what I was like. Wait, what? What is this? What the hell am I reading? Is this English? I'm sure it's English.
When he gets to his part where he's talking about cardboard characters and like having these like elaborate, like Tony Bass talking about like these elaborate like marriage proposals going on between like his players, like commanders and like NPC like heads of state, and it's just like this it's a wild thing. Like that was the point where I was like reading that, and he's very like, he kind of just brushes over it, but I was like, no, go back, elaborate on that, please.
Yeah, but what's going on here? What is this?
So that feels like, so in a lot of ways it kind of felt like a proto D&D campaign.
Kinda, yeah. I saw a lot of that when I was reading Ancient Wargaming, and it was like, oh, okay. And when I'm running Crescendo now, if anyone has a question, I just go pull Tony Bath. Like they're like, okay, what's the technical thing? It's like, I'll just walk over 1 minute, go grab Tony Bath.
Yeah.
Through it. Okay, this right here. This is the answer. All right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And like, the thing that I have found is that adopting one-to-one time is a complete change of how you view gaming.
Mm-hmm.
It is a total shift. A total shift. There's no, like, you have to... I pretty much just jettisoned everything that I thought I was doing out. It all went out.
Yeah.
It's a total wipe. You start over. And all of a sudden there's entirely different logistical problems. There's all of a sudden entirely different advantages. The game feels completely different. And like, I dropped this on my players, right, for Crescendo. Yeah. And I went, okay, we're putting this in, and I've never done one-to-one PvP before. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to mess up. The rules are going to be wrong, and we're going to be patching as we go. So please, build
this plane as we fly it.
Right. Yeah. And so as we're flying it, one of the things that we just literally just like, the poll closed like 6 hours ago. We're moving to bi-weekly instead of weekly.
Okay.
And the reason is really, really, really weird. Everybody wants to play weekly, but they find that the scheming that happens in between, if it happens on a weekly cycle for the sessions, it's not satisfying enough. They want a 2-week buildup.
Okay.
They want a 2-week buildup for it. Like, I mean, I was like, man, because every week feels so chaotic, but every 2 weeks feels just
like a sweet spot.
Yeah, just about there. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not because like, instead of it being like, oh, we got to get everything like, and I don't know about you, but for me, a lot of, we're going to call it stop time, felt very forced. Isn't the right word, because if I use the word forced, everyone's going to think that I mean like they're going to think that, I mean, it's not fun, and that's not really where I'm trying to go with it. It feels forced in the sense of like, well, I've got this logistical thing to figure out. I've got that, like, there's logistics that need to get figured out about how these people get to this place, A gets to B, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that dropped out the instant I switched to 1-to-1 time. All of it. It all vanished because no longer was anyone being like, wait, how many days do I need to rest up to, how many days do I need to ignore resting up for to recover HP?
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, wait, I have a tax on how much I can play in between sessions now.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't, if I screw around in the middle of the session, I'm going to get hit on the other end.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Ahead.
Yeah.
And it completely changed even what the purpose of a session was for. It stopped being, this is when we sit down to play, and it's like, no, this is the climactic moment.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you've been doing for the last few weeks, or days or whatever, now it blows up.
Right.
Something blows up. And I think part of that is because of Crescendo's design, because that's how Crescendo is just a rather explosive game. But part of it is also just simply that it's like, okay, I've gotten all of this stuff figured out. I've done all this stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten all my ducks in a row. We're playing. It's time to go. Like everybody goes in, they lock in, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, and I've noticed that happens in my game too. So like,
okay, good. So it's not just me.
No, because like, all right, so I say it's like, so we play bi-weekly, sort of. So now, so the club has 2 referees now. So we kind of end up playing. We do kind of end up playing weekly, but it's in my campaign and then the other referee's campaign.
Sure.
And they have but each individual campaign sort of goes in a bi-weekly state, and I think it's similar to the reason you say, in that it kind of lets things build up. And a lot of the time my players will, so occasionally, like, it doesn't happen often, but occasionally they go on a longer expedition. So they in one session they spent a month of time, and because I mean it had to be they were
sure.
They raised their armies, like, so 3 of them got armies because they just hit name level, and they were going to be joining the war front against the orcs in the southern part of the kingdom, and so that takes time. There was like they had to march everybody, and I find, like, so having a stable of characters assuages that somewhat. So we've still been playing it bi-weekly. But if we were playing weekly, they would probably have to have like 5 or 6 characters in order to sort of keep it going. And I think there's, what is they call it, Dunbar's number, like the number of people in your life that you can care about, like whatever that whatever that is for player characters. I think you can really only have so many before their character, their care is spread too thin across all of them. So I think most of them have 3 at the max, and I find that the more ambitious they get, they do all this stuff. It bi-weekly sort of helps figure that out. I would love to play weekly. It's just
right. But I mean, but it doesn't. There's like it feels like there's, and this is totally unique to 1-to-1 as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know so relatively little about it, right? That like my statements are just probably going to have all sorts. 5 years from now, I may look back on this video and laugh, and just laugh and go, man, what an idiot I was.
Maybe not.
I do that with everything else. Why not this?
Mm-hmm.
But like, it feels like there's a rhythm that gets picked up. There's this feeling that like people are kind of going according to this cycle that's a little bit larger than them. And then the session happens, things flip over, things change, and then people go back in and they start to build again, and they're starting to figure things out. And then the session happens. And if you've got good tools in your game, those sessions are bonkers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some like real wacky stuff can happen. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I mean just totally crazy things. Okay, which is funny. So because like I'm using my bespoke game and you're using what 1E, I'm assuming. Okay, and we're both just nodding along like yeah.
That's how it goes.
This is how it goes. Which is it's good to know. I have like. There's kind of like the designer in the back of me is like, I figured something out. I feel kind of good about it. But, but for the rest of it, it's like, oh, okay, there is like there's this sort of this rhythm. And that rhythm is really the thing that I feel like a lot of people who talk one-to-one time don't emphasize enough. I don't feel like they talk where like, instead of being like, and this is something that I really wish a lot of people who champion stop time, I wish they would address this more.
Okay.
Because I think that this is actually a spot where one-to-one time actually has an objective, I honestly feel like a lot of the time that one-to-one has an issue, fixes an issue that stop has a hard time getting around.
Okay.
Which is the question of momentum. So
okay, yeah.
I'm about to get to your comment, Daniel. Just give me a minute because that's actually a really good point. So like for instance, right now I'm about to go on a 12-day trip. 2 weddings back to back. If you find a corpse out on the highway somewhere in the Midwest, it's mine. Leave it alone. My wife will be along to get it. Just leave it alone. Don't touch it. But during that time, instead of being like, now if I was doing stuff, and again, and this is something, go through his pocket. No, don't go through my pockets. What's this? No.
Classic player move of loot the body.
Right. Now, if I was doing stop time, me personally, I'd be really bummed out by that because it's like, crap. Like there's a sense of internal, there's a sort of internal momentum that the campaign just loses.
Yeah.
It just does. I mean, like I found that over the years. And sometimes if the gap is too long, I just kill the campaign because I just don't give a crap anymore.
That's happened a couple times to me too, where I've done it when I was running it in stop time. And every single, even the ones that succeed like all the way to the end, my enthusiasm is very high in the beginning. And then by the end, I'm trying to get through it.
Right. Right. Because it's just like, what are we going to do here?
To your point, it's funny that you mentioned that because that is something a player mentioned to me. With all that time they just borrowed at that like in that session. Those are their heavy hitter characters. Those are the ones they're the most attached to. We only scheduled for my campaign 1 game this month.
Sure.
And we're playing at a local game store because there's a few people that are potentially interested in the club. So,
right. You don't invite strangers into your home after a certain age.
No,
it ain't gonna happen.
No, and that's it's like, it'd be nice. I mostly play in my basement, but we'll go to a third space till we can kind of get to know people a little better. But that's the only game we got this month, and we were kind of talking about it. Like it hasn't really killed the momentum at all. What it's done is that it's giving all of us a chance to kind of like take a breath.
Yeah,
and so they're still as enthusiastic as before. The reason being, like, the game's still on. I'm dropping things that happened, like an enemy faction stole the corpse of a former player character, and they did as a paladin, and you could turn a paladin into a very scary monster if it's a paladin. It remains. So that is what this faction is doing, and I was able to sort of drop that into the Discord, and they're all abuzz, they're all like hype, and they're getting plans together, and there's things moving, and
Right.
so but by the time catches up and we get back, they're gung ho, ready to go around the table again, but in the meantime, they're able to still be hyped for the game, and then also like attend to their real life stuff. They're not having to like all get our schedules together and everything. So, yeah, it lets it sort of have an ebb and flow while not killing the momentum. It's like
it feels organic.
We never run out. Yeah, it feels organic. Yeah, it's like there's a respiratory quality to it.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna bring up Daniel's 2 posts here. I may need some clarification on these, but I'm going to bring them up really quick.
Sure.
So part 1, there's one major irritant with 1-to-1. If you have a more realistic adult schedule with missed sessions or once a month, etc., it can get out of hand really fast. Honestly, which I would want more clarification on that one, Daniel, if you don't mind. Honestly, I feel 1-to-1 should be adjusted to 1 week per session. I don't know if he's wrong on that, actually. I don't know. Because I know so little.
There are some systems that do that. I think Pendragon does. But like, I don't think it's a week per session, but I believe it's a season per session.
Sure.
Like, so every week equals like 1 season, something like that. So like a great amount of time can pass fairly quickly. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with adjusting the ratio and seeing what works.
Yeah,
like I do 1-to-1 because that's, kind of what 1E was clearly designed with in mind, because there's a lot of stuff in 1E that it goes like operates under days. But if 1E was like throwing months at a time at me all the time, then I probably would be adjusting it.
Yeah. Well, I know that, and that's something that I think I want to clarify, that I don't think John and I are. I don't think John and I are dogmatic about it having to be 1-to-1 specifically. I don't know yet, but like I'm in the middle of. I'm talking with Cretonistus about designing a vampire game.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the middle of our thing talking about it, and he knows I'm going nutso on this 1-to-1 time thing. He's being very patient with me. And one of the things that he said was, you can't do 1-to-1 time in this game. I'm like, and he and I have known each other for a few years, so someone says something like that, you're like, oh, okay, well, why do you think that? What? Why do you think that, Credo? And his response was, it's a vampire.
They're operating on a longer time scale.
Right. Like, sense. Why the heck would you do 1-to-1? Why would you do that?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. He's like, we're talking years or decades or even they don't feel time the same way. And I think he's right. And whenever that game does come out, because we're slowly cracking into it, it will probably be working on months or years, because that's what would make sense. The thing that I hold is that being able to track time outside the session and being able to affect the game world outside of the game session seems to be objectively better than not. I don't know if that's true, but this is what I'm coming to.
It's the easiest, I think, to get into, just because it's pretty easy to track a calendar and days are going to pass regardless. So you're not going to need to, it's a matter of setting a reminder on my phone, as far as managing it goes. It's not that hard. I think there's an ease to it. There probably is a case to be made, and I don't know what it would be or what, but I can imagine that there is a position that says XYZ thing I do works better, and maybe it does. But as far as ease of use, I haven't really seen something that is easier to do and explain to people.
Right. And what I mean by objective is not necessarily like everyone else is bad. It's essentially
Right.
things like ease of use. It's like,
Mhm.
no, this actually has a utility to it. This seems to actually do things that stop time doesn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular spot, it works better because it maintains that, well, it actually installs a sense of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that people, you either have it, you're either doing it, and therefore you're like, oh my goodness, this is great. Like, it just sort of, the pattern just sort of carries, the rhythm just sort of carries me along.
Yeah.
And you know it, and you're able to reason from that spot of experience, or you don't, and then you ask stupid things like, do you track bathroom breaks? At which point it's like, let me know when you're an adult. And
yeah. Does that sound fun to you?
Right.
Because you asked it because it doesn't, and it doesn't sound fun to me either. So no,
Right,
the answer is
exactly.
no.
Exactly.
I think some instances where stop time is perfectly fine, and I think it is sort of a coin toss as far as if you want to try it or not. Is if you have a group that is just 100% dedicated to being there, and
right. I mean,
which
yeah,
is rarer than you
absolutely.
think. And it's like talk about having an adult schedule. That's not always. Maybe that's not always priority 1, 2, or 3. Maybe you're a couple ticks down, and
Right.
even a one-to-one
For good
time
reason.
game. Right, absolutely. And a one-to-one time game might be in that occupy that same spot, but because it has that respiratory quality, the players are able to move. But I have had players when I was running games in stop time that I did not have dropouts. Like they were always there, and that's how we played every single session.
I've done that once in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's rare.
Do you want to know how big the party size was?
How big was it? Yeah.
It was a one-on-one Burning Wheel game.
Okay.
Which Burning Wheel...
Perfect attendance.
Right. Perfect attendance. The GM showed up. The player showed up.
Right.
Like, so it is possible to do that. And dropping onto Daniel's stuff here, I agree. So, like, yes, it does have that in there. I do think that AD&D, from the little bit that I've read, so let's keep all of this in mind. From the little bit that I have read, I have not played 1E yet. I do not have that under my belt. A lot of people will open up their mouths about things that they have not run. That is not me. If I open my mouth and talk, it's because I've touched the game system and I've actually run it. So I can't say about this particular thing right here, which Daniel is talking about. And so, like, from what I can tell, 1-to-1 works really nicely because, like you said, you just literally look down at your calendar on your frickin' phone and you know what's going on. You don't have to do any conversions. And then you've got, and then this particular one, I've got thoughts on this for later because I'm working on something else as well. And this is also an interesting one as well. It's cool that you're playing with someone from China. Every time I talk to people from China, I'm always fascinated because their viewpoint is so. I just like asking them questions that they're like, "Why are you asking me this?" I'm like, "You're in China." Like, it's a completely different culture. I've got questions.
Right. Naturally, it's natural to be curious. Right. Absolutely.
Right. And hopefully I'm not offensive while I do it. But like, one of the things that I feel like, so I know I put 1-to-1 time in the bio as like the big drop. Oh, we went there for where? Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair. All right. You built me up. You built me up here, and now you tear me down. Gee, thanks, man. But I just find that having something that is actually going to change things between sessions keeps people invested, and having that be on some form of its strict time schedule works.
Yeah. It can't, it's not a replacement for the session. But it's definitely a repository for all the stuff you don't want in a session.
Right. Oh yeah.
So I can't remember the last time anybody really spent time buying supplies around the table. They usually have their lists and costs all sorted out before game day. So we're showing up with a mission and we get a lot done. I mean, most of the time, if they're doing a dungeon, I could probably clear with my club guys. We could probably clear between 15 and 20 rooms, in a night,
because everybody shows up and they're ready to go.
Yeah,
and that can't be understated, honestly.
Yeah.
And like, I'm actually in talks with Ross from Mythic Mountain to start running 1E in a world with him.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to be really interesting, because I had talked to him about it. I was like, I really want to run 1E. He goes, okay, what do you mean? I said, I mean, I'm going to crack open the book and just run it from the book.
Run the game.
I'm just going to run the game out of the book. And he goes, completely out of the book. I'm like, yes, completely out of the book. I have no idea. Like, I have no idea beyond that. And he's like, oh, cool. That's what I want to do too. So we're in the middle of talking about that.
Cool.
But like, I think that I'm looking forward to that, because it will give me a bit more perspective on how all this works. Because I mean, Gygax actually published the darn thing after playtesting, and I'm in the middle. I'm neck deep in Crescendo and just hoping I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
But I think that I actually kind of have an interesting anecdote that popped into my head, and I think it's your fault, and I don't know why it's your fault, but it only came up when we were in the middle of chatting on Discord about this. And one of the things, we were talking about the organic nature. So one of the things that most people don't know about me is I actually grew up around a lot of Catholic monasteries.
Oh,
like
cool.
Like, there was a monastery literally down the road this way, and then there was another monastery down the road the other way. Like, this was just part of, like, I'm just in one of those weird spots where you don't expect there to be monasteries, but they're there.
Yeah.
And then my parents specifically are part of a lay order that prioritize doing the Liturgy of the Hours. We're getting somewhere with this, because this is actually a very, very, very weird dip. One of the things that people don't really know about Catholicism or Orthodoxy is that the Mass, or the liturgy, is part 3 of a 3-act structure.
Okay.
So most of the time when people poke at the Mass or at the liturgy, that's the high point. That's the end. That's the end of this whole cycle, which starts with, Vespers or evening prayer the night before, goes into morning prayer or matins or orthros or whatever you want to call it. There's a couple of different names for that one. And then it goes into Mass or liturgy. And so the older idea, the one that Vatican II tried to bring back with varying success, is that the Mass is the ending point of the cycle. You are supposed to have the other two in there. They're supposed to condition you, so that way when you get to the end, you've got a full appreciation for what's going on. So I grew up with a lot of that. And this idea of religion being a process that you go through, and that at different times different things happen, which is the apostolic model. It is the apostolic historical, like it's part of the buildup, and so then I went east. I'm now Orthodox Christian, and
Mhm.
for a couple of years as a teenager, I was doing the full cycle every week. I drive over to my church, go do Vespers, go wake up early, go to Matins, which was like an hour and a half on top of an hour and a half long Eastern liturgy on top of it, and go
Wow.
do. Oh yeah, no, I mean it adds a bit of time, but I found that when I did that, it made things feel different. It made a difference, and it was something that I learned from the Western liturgy of the hours in the first place. And so it's really interesting because like the one-to-one time has felt really, really, really familiar, and I haven't been able to put my finger on it. Then you and I were chatting earlier today, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's what it is."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I think you might be onto something there. So, I grew up Catholic. My family had a falling out with our parish. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, no.
But
it's not for here.
We ended up. Long story short, I ended up moving. I'm in a very Protestant area now, and so I joined a Baptist church. But my understanding is that my Catholic roots are apparent to anybody who talks to me, and I've been called out on it apropos of nothing. It's not like we were talking about it and it came
Right.
up. People have stopped me in the middle of a conversation to say, "You grew up Catholic, didn't you?" and I don't. To this day, they have not been able to explain to me. Like they tried, and I wasn't understanding. But yeah, apparently there's a particular worldview that is particular to growing up a certain way, and
oh, there is. There most definitely is. There most definitely is. Oh, absolutely. It's interesting. So I can say this, and you may actually like one-to-one time or strict timekeeping or whatever you want to call it. It feels liturgical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I never thought of it that way, but I do think you're right.
And it feels more human to me.
Mm-hmm. That it does, yes.
Right, to have the ebb and the flow and how things change, and how there's quiet things, and then and this was actually at one point people keep bringing this up about one-to-one time, and it drives me crazy. So well, what if you have to stop mid-battle? Now, you're saying this to someone who has quite literally been on the liturgy of the hour since he was 4 years old, and I'm 38 now. And my response is, well, the special time is over. That part isn't important.
Right.
The session is stopped. I don't know. Apparently it's not important. Move on.
Right.
Because there will be more times. There will be other times to go fight this guy. But that's not now. The special time is over.
Yeah. Well, there's an the arbitrary it gets there's an arbitrariness that gets assigned to it by people that don't like it, and I don't find it compelling because by virtue of it being a game, there is it's going to have something arbitrary,
right? Oh, absolutely.
And if you're looking well, why did these games are not? Does it get to something closer to something real? And I would say it does. And when I say something real, I mean, like you were saying, it feels more human. It feels more like there's a lived in quality to it.
Yeah.
That in a lot of ways, I find stop time to be much, much more arbitrary. And because okay, here's an easy scenario. If we pause time in the middle of the fight, a player cannot make it next week. What do you do with his character? Are they just lobotomized for that set, for the rest of the session?
Are you really going to throw that onto somebody else to run the next session? Are you really going to do that to them? I mean, that never happened to me.
Right, and there's an arbitrariness to any kind of gamified thing you do. So that's why I just don't find that particularly compelling. That's all.
I didn't I mean, I didn't find it compelling, but like to me, like it took, like I've been sitting and looking at that objection for months, and it's bothered the crap out of me. And it was only until like literally earlier today where I went, oh, that's why it bothers me. That's why it bothers me, because to me it's like, okay, the rhythm says that this isn't important anymore.
You know, yeah, because now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, because I've never had I never had the players complain about like it's 11 o'clock at night, you know, and they want to go. They're just like, well, time to go to this dungeon because that's what we're gonna do. Like it's never. They're like, no, it's 11 o'clock. We're gonna wind down. Our characters need to rest, you know, and that's kind of the attitude. But I mean, a lot of the time too, the way borrowing works, you know, it's like, so if you're spending 2 weeks in travel, there's effectively no time lost between both sessions.
Right.
So, so you talk about momentum, it keeps momentum up with the players, and generally, you know, if they're gunning hard for somebody, they're going to be borrowing some time to kind of make it happen.
Right. And then they just jump over to somebody else.
Right. And it doesn't. But the thing is that it's not like, because I hear this objection and I get it, and I get why, like I understand why it comes to their head, which is, you know, if my character is like fight, like they're just gunning for this guy, why would they get to a point in the night where we pack it up and then they're just going to sit on their hands for a week?
Right.
And you're like, okay, I hear you, but if the way it sort of works, the way the kind of the tracking goes within the session is, there's probably not going to be as much time as you think between the character might be at pretty much every session they're borrowing between 3 days to 2 weeks.
See, that's interesting because Crescendo doesn't work like that at all. That's actually something that there's very little borrowing ahead in Crescendo.
Okay.
Very, very, very little. For a kind of a weird reason. Because it's modeled off of Gene Wolfe, as opposed to like, say, Conan or you know, or the King of Elfland's Daughter and whatnot. Crescendo can dip. The way that Crescendo works, it inherently makes the in-between kind of the point. So like, you know, there's the way that the design works, you don't borrow 2 weeks. You just go, okay, we're going to keep playing till we're done. We're going to map out the next however long. And then when we jump in, we're going to jump in at some point. We have no idea when. And then it's just going to keep going. And so it's because the idea is less of about an adventure as it is about putting their beliefs on trial, putting what they think of, how they think the world works on trial. So that can be done at any point.
Right. So, that makes sense.
Which isn't to say that borrowing time is bad. It just hasn't really
come up.
Yeah. It just doesn't come up because because we had in the last campaign when I started running 1-to-1, we had a moment where someone literally got dumped into the Underdark, like he was doing his thing. And hold up. What are you doing up here? What are you doing? You're not supposed to be up here. 1 second. No, you're not supposed to be up here. What are you doing up here? What is this? I miss you too, but
somebody wandered into the studio. Oh my gosh.
What are you doing? You can't even see me. I'll be down a little bit. I'll see you in a little bit, sweetie. Remember that cantankerous 2-year-old I was telling you about?
Was that the one?
Yeah, it was the one. I hear my father. He thinks he's off.
Oh no!
Take a break. No, Daddy, you may not do that. Anyway, sorry about that.
You're good.
Just turn around. All of a sudden, there's just
little hands come up.
What are you doing here? Okay, what were we talking about before my brain got wiped because my 2-year-old came up?
We were talking about. We were talking about like borrowing time and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something that but I think it works better from what I understand, right? Again, I have not touched the game. So this is me projecting and this is me guessing.
Yeah.
My guess would be that that's fine because really the focus in AD&D is so world-based that it's like, okay, yeah, sure, we can jump over to another another party and we can build things up over there and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Crescendo doesn't do that. It's been really interesting, like how, hey, we're literally walking between cities turns into, as it turns out, this is the climactic moment where X happens. And this is really important, actually. It's like random encounters on steroids.
Okay.
Which is how that works.
That makes sense considering like what I've read of Crescendo and it being story driven. Which is I always appreciate your defense of the story game.
Oh my god!
Because you're right. I mean, like I never see anything that I go, I disagree with that as far as like story games go. Like they have.
It gets really irritating. Like I really need to get thicker skin about it, and I don't have it. I should have it, but like Forge theory is incomplete. It's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a lot of extremely sharp criticisms about my camp. And they are far, far, far stronger than anyone would really like to hear. But I think that a lot of the time when people say story gaming, they mean railroading retards.
Yeah. That is absolutely what they mean.
Yeah, and it's like, no, I'm sorry, but this word has already been taken. It has its own history. It has its own thing. You may just simply say railroader, or you can say someone who doesn't actually play the game. I don't care what it is, but it's not story gaming. Leave it alone. Then that, of course, always comes out nice and harsh, because that's just how that goes. But like,
not in the business of tone policing anybody, so have fun.
Yay. But like, I think one of the things that Forge gaming gets wrong, like story gaming gets this wrong a lot, is that the setting is not inherently important.
Interesting.
So, like, for instance, let's say we're playing Burning Wheel. We're in the middle of playing. Actually, I don't even have to say for instance. I did this. So I actually did this. This is not. This isn't me guessing. I've done this. So in a Burning Wheel game, we were getting chased around and we were getting the crap kicked out of us.
Yeah.
I had what's called Wise. Inside of Burning Wheel, a Wise is a special kind of skill that lets you invent information.
Okay.
Now, the stricture is as long as the GM has not already thought of something inside of that area, or if it breaks something that's already been established in the game. Now, there's some problems with this. They should be obvious. We're about to get into them. But in the middle of playing, we got the crap utterly kicked out of us, and we were on the run. And I went family secrets Wise. And my GM looks at me and goes, okay, that's a little random. I said, yeah, but I got a really high rating in it. You see that you see that grove of trees over there? There's a hut over there with a secret tunnel all the way back to the castle. That's where the king goes and sleeps with his mistress. And the GM looked at me and he said, all right, that's absurd. It's not completely absurd, though, and I didn't come up with anything about that specific grove of trees. So roll, because that's what you do. You then roll to see to prove your point.
That's interesting.
Either it's correct or it's correct with caveats.
Okay.
And the caveats are up to the GM, and I'm sure you know how that one goes. But
Yeah.
I passed the roll. I had a really stupidly high family history-wise. Like, it was not one of those things where, like, you could really contest it. Like, I mean, he assigned the difficulty, but he knew I was gonna pass. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem.
Okay.
I just do. I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem because it can rewrite entire sections of the setting as if they're not real.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And if you get a whole bunch of people hanging around with a bunch of wises, things get can get very chaotic very quickly, especially if you have someone like me running around who goes, over there's the cottage. There's a secret tunnel. It's miles long. It's in great condition too.
Yeah, it is like, so you've just like what is it? You created, what is it? You'd be able to like bypass an entire scenario just
right.
Based on what's most convenient to you as a player, which is not necessarily what's best for the game.
Right. And that is something that story gaming can do, and it is more prone to doing it than old school gaming by like a lot. Mm-hmm. And that I find to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put this in here. Okay. Because we love definitions here, railroading is when the GM tells the group this is what's going to happen, and you are going to do it because it is necessary for the story to exist. That's my definition of railroading. I have no other.
Sometimes, yeah, I agree. Sometimes the players beg for it. They're like, when they say, "What do we do next?" Like, I want to find the plot. I've had a player he used to say, "I'm trying to find the plot," and I'm like, "Brother,
what? No. I don't think that's railroading. By the way, I think that's scenario. Like, that's a scenario design thing. This is where the GM goes, we are doing this, and we are doing this in the middle of it because it is where I think the story should go. It's specifically a hijacking.
The session cannot happen unless you do this thing.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
That to me is railroading. So however that works out, but that's the definition I've been running with since I was 15. So
I think that works for me.
Yeah, 23 years later, it seems to be pretty usable.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like, as far as time being an important thing is something that's not really, or at least it wasn't being referenced all that much in post-Forge gameplay for a while. It wasn't the thing that people were, like, Burning Wheel was weird for having time taxes. Like, it was, like, it stuck out. Like, people were like, why is that in there? It's like, what do you mean, why is that in there?
Mm-hmm.
He just took a hot spear right to the gut. Yeah, he's out for a year and a half.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Like, so it's like this is a game that was like more concerned about with things that people had sort of dismissed by this point.
Right. And I think that that's turning around a little bit. So, like, downstairs I've got the new Urban Shadows game, which is very much so a faction and downtime game. Like, those things, it's not 1-to-1, but they've got, like, this is you guys are, like, stuff is happening between sessions and the GM is checking things off to see what changes. Like, there are more things going on. And I've been seeing more of it in some of the Forge stuff or the post-Forge stuff that I've been reading now, but at a certain point in time, it really wasn't there. It really wasn't a thing. And it's interesting that it's starting to come in now, and that, you've got your lovely little book, and everybody else's stuff on it. I feel like, I mean, and then there's, like, the hybrid time, which is the Harmony Ginger way of doing it. Apparently, I don't know. I mean,
I think Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, I was a little confused because I saw that exchange, but I didn't look into it too deeply. So I'm not sure when they talk about flex time. I think what they would call what I do flex time about borrowing borrowing time within a session. So I've heard it described in many ways. So I'm not sure what the distinction would be. So I would still consider what I do to be one-to-one time.
Sure.
Because there's I have noticed in the discourse on it, there's a arbitrary distinction when they go like, okay, you're traveling for a week, so we're going to sit around the table for a week, and it's like, no.
No, goodness, no.
There's
No,
that sort of thing. The borrowing of time for like a.
I think what Ginger does is if they're in the middle of something, one-to-one time turns off, and they wait to resolve the full thing, and then they go back into one-to-one time. Yes. I disagree with doing it that way. At least on principle. Again, I haven't tried it, so I mean, like, you know, if it's working for Ginger, that's great. Like, I'm not, you know, but it sounds weirder to me.
I believe Harmony is running her game in 5th edition, and that being a much more like tactical. It is a tactical battle game. Like that is, I mean, that's what it is. So
yeah,
those encounters, you know, they can run pretty long, and unless you take some steps to. So I could understand why, if like you're thinking about it from a fifth edition perspective, why you're going, what if we're still in the middle of a combat? Because like I've had combats last an hour, you know. In that
I'm
edition.
coming from 4th edition. An hour sounds
right. Yeah,
sounds short.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming from 3.5, right? It's very similar. You know, I played a Mythic Pathfinder game, and we did a combat that lasted I think 9 hours. So just
9 hours.
Yeah, we were playing Mythic. We were playing Mythic. It was spread out over like 3 sessions. So it was.
What the hell?
It was that was the game that broke me of Pathfinder. I was like, I don't ever want to play this ever again. Because I did the level 20 Mythic 10 thing, and I was done. But
yep. Well,
yeah.
The one game that I did play that would have convinced me that sticks in the back of my mind about stop time working is a 4th edition game that I ran. It was one working day stretched out across 8 sessions. It was it was brutal. So in the sense, so what happened was the players looked up as the sky. This was before Avengers came out. Or like it was right around, like it was like I wasn't thinking of Avengers when this happened, but it happened. The sky opens up and the armies just start coming down, and they're all like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, that's a good question. They're like, Nathan, those are all devils. I'm like, yes, that's true. And they're like, someone opened a portal between hell and here. Isn't it going to close? I'm like,
why would I assume that?
Right. I'm like, why is that my problem? And so it took them 8 sessions to get it closed. And at that point, pause time would have made sense, because it was 8 sessions taking place over 24 hours of just pure nonstop hell. It was one of the most brutal things I've ever run ever. And it was great, because one of the things that people don't understand about 4th edition, a lot of people look at the characters and they go, oh, they're hardier than they are in 3.5. No, they're not. Because healing surges tell you how many times you can recover. It's a hard cap.
Yeah.
And so what happened was that, and to address this, is we're coming up on this as well. At the end of it, because we had been tracking via healing surge loss what was going on, when we got to session 8, everyone was ragged because they couldn't stop.
You're right. Yeah, it's like sucking the life out of them. Yeah.
Like literally there was an army pouring out of the sky. They could not stop to sleep. So it was just, and they were like level 12. So these were not small time people. They could afford to go for 20 hours at a shot.
Right.
But come the end of it, they're all looking at me. They're like, Nathan, it's session 7. None of us, we all ran out of healing surges like 2 sessions ago. Are we going to stop? And I'm like, is the portal closed? They're like, no. I'm like, good answer. You're understanding where this is going.
Yeah.
And so like, that's something where like, if somebody like that example is to me a good steel man of the stop time position, because
Sure.
we literally could not do it, and it was too important. You know, you don't say 2 weeks go. You know, a week goes by. A week goes by with the portal open. No, that literally doesn't work. Like, you literally cannot have that. Like, the world is swallowed in devils.
Right.
By like day 3, and you know, you either close it or you don't. Now I think that's a bit of an edge case, because again, these are level 12 characters, you know. Like, these are level 12 characters. Like, these are not normal people, you know. These are superhuman people. Like, they can't just do that. So like, I think that the tracking of the time, ironically enough, was going on, which is why I'm giving credit to this. But that was a really, really, really weird situation, and I've never run into it ever again. It's just never come up. It's just never been a thing that I like, you know.
I've never. We'll continue. That's kind of gets to my point about, like, I think it depends on the system that you're doing. So like in AD&D, I'm having a hard time envisioning a scenario that would take 8 sessions, and that might be for one day. That might be a failure of my imagination, but based on the way that system works, it's pretty easy to abstract out more like elaborate scheme. So you're expected to still come up with your operation. Like, so let's say, you know, you had to scale a cast. Like, we're going to scale the castle. We're going to pull off a heist. You know, the thief is going to have to come up with a blueprint of a plan, and then it's a couple. Yeah. And then it's a couple hide and shadows rolls and a couple move silently rolls, and then you know, and you're sort of, you know, you should have a blueprint. You should have a floor plan. But I mean, that's just like, that's on the DM side. So
yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and that makes sense. And it's, but at the exact same time, like, yes, that would happen very quickly in 1E, but there's a moment that sticks out in my head from that 4th edition game where somebody, in session 4, so midway through, we're midway through this. I don't know it's going to take 8 sessions, by the way. I have no idea how. It's just, to quote this.
Yeah, right.
Until it's done.
Yeah.
We go till it's done. And until you guys, right, until you guys close this, that's it. Which I think that's something to consider. To consider. But like, in session 4, somebody accidentally tripped off a trap and rolled down a hill, dropped off the cliff that was at the bottom of the hill, and dropped 30 feet onto a spike at level 12.
Okay.
Suddenly, he had no healing surges left.
Yeah. Like, pretty harrowing.
Yeah, yeah. Every single person stopped, and it was the tank. It was not a little guy. It was one of the big people, one of the people that was up at the front taking hits. Everybody looks at him and they go, "Are you serious?"
Mm-hmm.
That was not the time to roll a 1. This was not the time. You understand what you've done, because like he's, they heal him up, they patch him up, but he's out. He's done. That's it. And he goes, "Well, I mean, what do you guys want me to do?" And they're like, "Well, you have a bow, don't you?" And he goes, "I'm a paladin. My dex is like a 10. They're like, "Oh, that's high for a paladin." Really high for a paladin.
There's not a negative. You're fine.
Right. Here, take the bow. We'll set you up. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. We're gonna
no
go
penalties.
It's fine. So like, but even inside of that example where I'm attempting to steel man it, because I'm not like, I'm not running around screaming, "This is the gospel. This is what you have to do."
Sure.
I've not, there's a couple of things that I'm like that about when it comes to gaming, but this ain't one of them. But even there is a timer. There is something, as this comment says, like as Daniel says here, it's like you have to, if you're not keeping track of time, something is wrong. Mm-hmm. Because it's just such a vital part of the experience. And like, it's weird, at least for me, because the further in I get to this whole one-to-one thing with Crescendo, and I'll actually be running a session of that later on tonight. So this place will be open back up in about an hour and a half.
Perfect.
To continue adventuring there. But like, I think the thing that needs to be kept in mind, and I think we have this under, I mean, if we don't, obviously correct me, but the way that I'm starting to see it is that this sense of time passing, and that time being an important thing, and that you have to have some form of a sense of things changing and passing on from one form to another. Mm-hmm. That has to be there.
I would agree. Yeah.
Like that's an objective fact. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the fun things about objective facts is that they're usually pretty flexible about how you do them. Mm-hmm. So if someone is sitting around saying, "Yeah, but I can only do one to two time," okay, cool, you're tracking time. And or if somebody goes, "Yeah, but that 8 sessions in 24 hours was great." Like, okay, cool, but you're tracking that. Like, that's important. That's an important part of the experience. Because otherwise, it's what is like. This is another weird aside. I'm filled with them, but the actual definition of trauma in psychology is not "it sucks." Lots of sucky things happen to people, and they're fine. Trauma is something that you cannot make a part of your internal narrative.
Okay.
So like, 2 people can watch someone get shot in the head. One person is infantry and has already had their entire worldview wrapped around this idea, and they walk away. They're not happy about it, but they can do something with it. The other person has no cognitive ability has never been conditioned to where that could be a part of their narrative, and they may spend the rest of their life failing to make it a part of their narrative because nothing else fits.
Right.
And to me, I would almost say that not having a sense of time would be traumatic in the actual technical...
The clinical term.
In the clinical term, it's trauma, because trauma does not have a time to it.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people who... I don't know how many people will ever watch this, because that's just not the kind of channel this is. But I think a lot of people, when they hear, when they have their objections against one, we're just going to use the term one-to-one time. It means a whole bunch of different things. but in this particular case, it's our little casting call, right? I think that a lot of them would be like, yeah, but like, you know, I can't do this or I can't do that. It's like, make it a part of, make it not traumatic, make it not trauma, make it a part of the continuum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's.
I would say, no, I 100% agree with that. Because, yeah, like it has a way of working, and it's like I think players often will sort of rationalize the time spent in a way that doesn't feel traumatic. You know,
Right.
So they're not thinking, oh, my guy is going to be ignoring the big bad guy and just sitting on his hands until next week. What they're doing is they're going into Discord and they're sending me, 15 DMs about how, this is all the plans we're getting into place, and this is what we're going to be doing, and this is, we're raising the armies, we're banging the war drums, and we're, counting the tax coin, and like there's still things to be done, and so even if it the session like arbitrarily ends,
Lies.
Even the session arbitrarily, or the session ends before it's sort of like complete, whatever it is that they were doing, it still continues, I guess.
Yeah. It doesn't have, and then on top of it, so like the last session that I had, chapter 6, was one of the most intense things I've ever run.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just bar none. Like, it was nuts. It was absolutely objectively crazy. None, like, just absolute chaos reigned. But part of the reason why the chaos reigned was because there was 2 weeks of people going back and forth. And I mean, and again, this game's PvP. So like, I'm waiting on this guy to give me some troop movements. Yeah, I'm calling you out. I was biting my nails off. People are like sending me all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need this one.
Mm-hmm.
Resolve this, please. This is just sitting here, and I can't handle it anymore. And then he supplies like the timeline. I'm like, oh my, like all of a sudden, all these pieces just clicked into place, and they kept clicking, and they'd been building for 2 weeks. It was just 2 weeks of just these all this little nonsense becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, the forest is on fire. The forest is wrapped around the city. The forest is on fire. Like one of those, like, oh shit.
It's like a Chicago fire in the making. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And they managed to stop it, but it wouldn't have. The people who stopped the fire, or one of the people who stopped the fire, would have just as likely have been the cause of it. Yeah. But all of that meant something because there was this in-between session build-up of people jockeying around and doing crap to each other and backbiting each other and spying on each other, and then just all of a sudden, everybody shows up and it all blows up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in my game, I started. I made everybody start from level 1, and I didn't. If like I always tell them, like, PvP's on the table, and you have to be an adult about it, like,
yes, you do, you really do.
Because I know when people hear that, they think like murder hobo type, just like people just trying to torpedo the evening for everybody else, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's your job to do PvP in a way that you still have friends at the end of the night. And that's the way. Like, you have to, like, everybody's got to be mature about it. So I run a game that I'm cool with everybody doing everything that they want to do, and I think the club environment's been really good for that, because it's everybody there with a mission, so they sort of understand what's going on. And then also, I think AD&D's. I think you have, in order to have it be coherent, you have to follow alignment protocol.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
As
Yes.
ADD lays it out, which is basically like, you know, if you have a bunch of neutrals and goods, the evil's gonna have to find a new party. Like, because why? And it's not that Gygax, right? It's not that Gygax doesn't say you shouldn't let this person in. His position is, why would this person want to be here?
Right, which is true.
Yeah, and it's, and I find like once you sort of have, it's the fear of the betrayal. I think the betrayal, apropos of nothing, is sort of like the is the part that like people think about as, because they hear like the horror stories, and that's usually what it is. It's just some guy like being a prick and just like stabbing as many bags as he can because he thinks it's funny, and it makes like the players insane.
That's not up for any reason.
Oh, okay. It's just
not for any reason whatsoever.
Definitely not related.
Definitely not calling somebody out right here on the right here.
But you know, if it, like, I find that it's like, so once you've separated everybody out into their alignment, like in their alignment spheres, and once you like kind of strictly enforce alignment, PvP becomes a lot easier, because you know, when everybody's playing an evil guy, nobody's really surprised when they get betrayed.
Right, because they know what's coming.
Right. Or when they do the betraying, it's just like, oh, you got me. Whereas like
that's back up for no reason. I don't know why that keeps coming back up.
Crazy. It's crazy. You know, it's staying up there. Wow.
It just shows up. I don't know. There's something wrong with my computer. Totally something wrong with it.
But yeah, so it makes it definitely is changes the game up some. So, and I think having the calendar and having that space for plans and plots also makes PvP easier. But
yep,
and it makes it more satisfying, as opposed to, I don't know, like a lot of ending in a lot of friction.
That is something for another night, because now I must go and put someone down to bed. Because
sure. Well, as long as there's reasons.
As long as there's reasons. It's what my character would do.
That's what my character would do.
Thank you so much for coming on. I want to follow up on this, because now we're starting to get into other territory, and I want that territory. That's something I want to do. But for the moment, I have responsibilities that are calling me from downstairs, who may come running back up in a minute, and I will no longer get helped. Thank you again, John. Thanks, chat. You are evil. I'm just saying it. Anyway, thank you so much. This was great. I had a really wonderful time.
It was fun. I had a good time too.
Awesome. All right. Until next time, then.